Hello, friends, family, foes. You know who you are. As we sit and experience the first-hand fall of the United States government, I figured there was no better time than, first of all, for this channel. Shout out to my premonition of calling this channel Crash Talk, but also I figured that there was no better time than to talk about some of my favorite films about the United States government, aka the duology to end all duologies, Nicolas Cage's finest work, National Treasure 1 and 2. Now, if you're not familiar with these movies, surprising. I was preparing for this video and I was like, do I even need to rewatch these movies to prepare for this video? Let me tell you something. I did not rewatch the first movie to prepare for this video because it's deep in here, okay? Maybe the National Treasure is the National Treasure that we knew along the way.
What? Child. Anyway, so
I know this movie front to back to front, upside down, twisted sideways, pull a quote. I could probably quote the whole thing. Lots of people have lots of opinions on Nicolas Cage. I will tell you that my opinions on Nicolas Cage were formed during very tumultuous years, aka I was 5 and 7 when the first and second National Treasure came out. Because of that and how important those films are to me, I don't have a bad opinion of Nicolas Cage. I'm sorry. Because here's the thing, Disney used to eat. Okay, Disney used to be feeding us well. And now Disney gives you a scrap of something they found way back. Okay? Deep in the dredges of the freezer, they pull that out, put it in the microwave. Hand it over to you. Do you want it? Do you want to eat it? I don't know where I was going with this. I just need to shit on Disney for a little bit. I hope that you're staying well. I hope that you're staying safe as much as you can. And we're going to chat about some silly, goofy movies today. Come escape with me. Come back to 2004 with me really quick. So as I said, today we're going to be talking about National Treasure. These films directed by John Turteltaub. The first one, National Treasure, the original, the OG, she came out in 2004. It is a Disney movie. And the second one, National Treasure Book of Secrets, came out in 2007. These films, no, we will not be talking about the follow-up series that they made on Disney Plus. Because here's the thing, I don't even think that Disney wants to talk about the follow-up series that they made on Disney Plus. So, and I started watching it because, I was born and bred to be a hater, but I like to sit down and have class, see whether or not my hating is justified. So I sat down and I tried to watch it. The opening was so cringe, adults don't understand Gen Z type beat, that I had to turn it off. I did. To me, those are not canon. We are just going to be talking about the duology of movies because they're perfection. Let's get started. It's a double feature. Strap in. You're going to be with me for a little bit. Okay. The very first movie opens with a flashback. We see young Benjamin Gates. Young Benjamin Franklin Gates. Yeah. Yeah. Going into the attic of his grandfather's house. There's a storm. It was a dark and stormy night. It's poetry. Yeah, it's poetry. And as he's, snooping around upstairs, his grandfather catches him and he's like, "What are you doing up here?" Young Benjamin Franklin Gates says, "Hey, I just want to know more about our family and our family secrets."
All right, let's tell each other a secret about ourselves.
Grandpa Gates says, "Okay, kid, sit down, let me tell you a story. It's Giving the Princess Bride." So he starts telling this story and we get moved into a different flashback into colonial times. We see that an ancestor of the Gates family, played by Jackson Rod Stewart, is getting told this piece of a puzzle that leads to the ultimate treasure. The Knights Templar treasure. What's the Knights Templar treasure, you might be asking? That's a really good question. It's a really insightful question. I'm really glad that you're paying attention. So the Knights Templar treasure is all of this gold and scrolls from the Library of Alexandria and other loot and such that sort of grew over time with colonization. Searching for the New World. that gets hidden by these knights who decide that it's better lest evil actors use the treasure for bad things and it's too great for one man. So they hide the treasure and they put out all these different clues that they give to their sort of like trusted few. Quite a few, according to the lore of National Treasure world, the National Treasure cinematic universe, if you will, the world that I wish I was living in, but it's fine. Quite a few of the founding fathers of the US had this information. It got passed down to the Gates family because one of the holders of one of the secrets is dying and can't meet with the president at the time. Papa Gates, aka Benjamin Franklin Gates' dad, comes in as Grandpa Gates is telling the story, and he's like, fuck off, bro. We have embarrassed ourselves for too long believing in this bullshit, okay? Not on my watch.
Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
And we cut. It is a beautiful match cut from Ben, young Ben, into older Ben, who has not given up on the treasure. In fact, his search for the treasure has led him into the great Alaskan tundra, where he's now joined by our good friend Ian, who is his benefactor for this endeavor, and our good friend Riley Poole, who is like the snarky, sarcastic, tech funny guy of the film. They're looking for the clue that was given to the Gates family, aka this line, "The secret lies with Charlotte." We kind of get dropped in the middle of everything that's going on, so we don't exactly know how they figured out the very first clue, but we know that it's led them to Alaska, where they believe that this ship, the Charlotte, this old sort of like maritime, I don't know why I'm explaining to you what a ship is. Sorry. On this ship, they find this pipe, which leads them to even more clues, which after solving, because Benjamin Franklin Gates is the most brilliant man in the entire universe, he realizes that there is a 70% chance, which is higher than most, honestly, that there is a treasure map on the back of the Declaration of Independence. Yeah. Well, yes. Quite reasonably, this discovery gives him pause, because now he's like, how the fuck am I ever going to get to see this thing? In which case, Ian, the benefactor for this project, who is also a criminal, we could just borrow it. Ben, whose sense of morals are honestly stronger than the Wi-Fi in my house, sees issue with this, and thus Ian proceeds to shoot at Ben and Riley in this ancient ship full of very old, very flammable gunpowder. So the ship blows up. Ben and Riley make it out fine, and now we're off to the races trying to see how we're going to get to the Declaration of Independence. First things first, they go to the US government agencies that they can think of that would be amenable to, one, helping protect the Declaration because they're warning them that somebody's going to steal it, and two, give them access to see the Declaration so that way they could tell them if there's actually any real danger that the document's in. Because if the map's not there, right, if it's a bogus clue, if they're wrong, there's no reason to steal it. Of course, back in 2004, and, you know, most certainly if this movie was set today, right now in this moment in 2025, the US government agencies are absolutely no help. They Hail Mary to the very last agency that they can think of, which is the National Archives, the ones that are the sort of surveyors over the Declaration of Independence itself. And this is where we meet, quite possibly, like, the girl boss of the century, the woman that I would like to be like. If I have several different women in my lifetime scope of girl bossery that I would like to achieve, Miss Abigail Chase. The woman that you are. So Miss Abigail Chase is one of the directors for the National Archive, and she does not believe for a minute that the document is in any danger. In fact, she even calls them out on their treasure hunt, which Ben points out is a little bit ironic because she collects like old campaign buttons from like Lincoln or like Washington, whatever. And he says it must have taken a really long time to hunt down all that history. Kind of ate her up, I fear. So now that he's completely struck out with all of the governmental agencies trying to get somebody above him to do it, Benjamin Franklin Gates makes up his mind.
I'm gonna steal it. What?
After a moment at the Library of Congress that doesn't take very long to convince Riley that stealing the Declaration is actually possible, we get a plan montage. Let me tell you something. In the vein of Michael Microphone's love for a heist movie and a plan montage that doesn't actually teach you anything about how the plan's supposed to go, I just have to say that this is a good one, okay? Why am I seeing you make invisible ink? I don't know. Why do the security cameras for the National Archive run through some random fucking pipe in the public restroom of a subway? I don't know. But here's the thing, I'm eating it up. Big night comes, aka the night of the National Archives Gala, which they figure is the best time to try and steal the Declaration because they'll be distracted with all the high-profile guests upstairs, and they've already gotten the Declaration moved into the preservation room, which has much less security. During this night, we get dual scenes of Ben's plan to infiltrate, kind of getting in with the crowd upstairs and then working his way downstairs, and Ian, the benefactor, who is now just on his own singular hunt for the treasure, his plan to infiltrate, which involves, like, tasering people and, like, breaking locks and stuff. It's just so good. So Ben makes it to the preservation room, he gets the Declaration, but he can't get it out of its protective case fast enough. So he's taking it to the elevator to try and get it out in there, but who do we run into other than Mr. Ian himself? And bang, bang! He wants that Declaration. Our king, our very trusted and involved citizen, Ben, manages to get the Declaration out of its case, but as he's trying to slip through the gift shop to basically get out of the National Archives, he gets caught for shoplifting.
Are you trying to steal that?
Oh,
We take Visa.
So he ends up paying for the Declaration. Just hold on. I don't know how many uh-ohs I've said at this point, but let's add another one, okay? Because Miss Abigail Chase has been sus of Ben, and now she's caught him outside with something that very much looks like the Declaration of Independence. And he does in fact say that he gives it to her. And he's like, here, have it. But now we have a bigger problem because Miss Abigail Chase, the woman that you are, is screaming in the road about having the Declaration of Independence. So who comes to pick her up other than Mr. Ian? Car chase, guys. Let me tell you something. This movie has it all. Also, let me tell you something. Miss Abigail Chase's dress in this scene, it's everything. Is she hanging on the side of a moving vehicle while men actively try to grab her and or shoot her? Yeah. And she's doing it so flawlessly. Abigail loses the Declaration. Ben manages to save her. And Ian's looking on top of the world. But that Declaration that you got? Souvenir. Backup Declaration of Independence that he bought in the gift shop because he figured it would be good to have a spare. Ben, you sly little minx. You're so clever. We're having wins. The wins do in fact stop here for a little bit though, because when Ben did buy the souvenir, he didn't have enough cash, so he had to pay with a credit card, which means now they're on the map. Cue iconic FBI agent Sadusky knowing that they're probably the ones that stole the Declaration of Independence, which that would bring I think a lot of the manpower of the US government. I have to say that would probably be perhaps one of the big no-nos, right, of things that you could steal and get away with. The next piece of the puzzle that they have to figure out is hidden in what they call these silenced do-good letters, aka letters that Benjamin Franklin, not Benjamin Franklin Gates, wrote to his brother's newspaper way back when, and there's some sort of key to some sort of cipher that they believe is on the back of the Declaration of Independence. Keep up. keep up. They can't go home, so they head over to Ben's dad's house because he knows that his dad had these letters, and his dad, you know, historically, not having a problem at all with the treasure hunting nature of his family, is so kind and welcoming.
Oh, well, I'm in a little trouble. Is she pregnant?
What did he say?
Unfortunately, his dad does not have these letters because he donated them to, like, the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia. We'll get there a little bit later. But first, they need to test whether or not there is actually a cipher on the back of the Declaration. Spoiler alert, there is. So now we're up and running, right? Big problem, however, is that his dad does find the document that they're testing on and realizes that it is the actual Declaration of Independence. And well,
We can't have that.
A few moments later.
FBI, right? Gonna untie me?
another thing that I love about this film, and one thing that I'll mention when I talk about the second one, is that it's like a tour of the American Northeast. Like, oh my gosh, Philadelphia from the National Treasure Cinematic Universe. I wish it was real. I'd love to visit. Now we're in Philly. A little bit of flirting and sleuthing later. Abigail is fully on board. We've found the key in the Silence Do Good letters, and they've led us to Independence Hall, where the Liberty Bell used to be. In a brick, in Independence Hall, Ben and crew find these super dope 3D spectacles that I swear to God I've worn in a 3D movie at some point. But Ian, who's been doing some sleuthing on his own, because he's not dumb, okay? And he wants this treasure. He's gotten all the way to Philadelphia. So now we've got a foot chase. Mr. Disney, you used to feed us so well. The Golden Trio decide to separate the lock from the key. So to keep Ian from getting all of the pieces of the puzzle, they send Abigail and Riley off with the Declaration, and they send Ben off with the glasses that they just found. Abigail and Riley flop a little bit, and they do get the Declaration caught by Ian. Raggy. Ben manages to keep the glasses, but then he does get arrested by the FBI. We're flopping at like a 6 out of 10 right now. We're really losing more than the majority. You know what I mean? Ever the entrepreneur, Abigail finds a way to get Ben out of FBI custody, which means getting involved with the only criminal she knows, Ian. This includes a jump into the Hudson River, which, let me tell you something. I can't even think of a good reason why I would willingly put myself into the Hudson River. Finding national treasure. Jumping into the Hudson River. Finding national jumping. FBI, Hudson, FBI, Hudson, The FBI might win out. I'm not gonna lie to you. So now we've gone from New York to New Jersey and back again. Ian gets his clue. Ben gets the glasses and the Declaration and everything else. But, Ian can tell that Ben is lying about something. Your man's a 10, but he can't bluff to save his life. Where you put him at. So the next clue that they figure out is that they need to go into Trinity Church, which is at the intersection of Broadway and Wall Street, and they need to find something called Parkington Lane. This leads them under the church, where they thus desecrate a grave. No bad karma coming from that. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And it leads them into this like old rickety like stair elevator shaft, very clearly built hundreds of years ago.
What is that?
Subway.
Ian's buddy Shaw dies. So, you know, the karma that I was talking about, it's like Chekhov's fucking gun. And they get down to this little alcove that has one lantern in it. Ian, being, you know, the criminal that he is and the crazy person that he is, and now he's lost his good buddy Shaw, goes, "Where the fuck is my treasure, Ben?" And Ben's dad feeds him some bogus clue about Paul Revere and 2 lanterns versus 1 lantern, the British, the sea, whatever. He sends him off to Boston. I love this part of the film because Paul Revere, Oh my gosh, I know him. Ian leaves to follow this fake clue, and Abigail is confused. What the fuck, you lied? Ben's dad and Ben, who are so clever, they know this, and they know that there's got to be another way to find the treasure room. There's got to be another way out of this little space, because the first thing that the Masons would have done when they got down there after digging the initial hole is that they would have built a secondary shaft for air and in case of cave-ins. So where's the secondary shaft? Well, as they're hunting around, they find this little indent in the wall that perfectly fits, you guessed it, the little pipe of the ship Charlotte that they found at the beginning of the film. It's just so good. And bingo bongo, they've done it, John. They find the treasure. It's gold. It's big green men. It's scrolls from the Library of Alexandria. Hundreds upon thousands of years of human history just buried under New York. New York, you guys stay being special, huh? They find the treasure, freak out for a little bit. They find another set of stairs that leads them back into the church. Ben resolves his crimes with the FBI, offers Ian up in his place because someone's got to go to prison, Ben. He also says that all of the treasures should be returned to the people, aka all the different countries and museums. Love that. Hey, Indiana Jones, take notes. Okay? Take notes. It also turns out that cool Agent Sadusky was actually a Mason all along, so he kind of believed in, like, what Ben was doing, but also, like, had to do his job and try and stop him, but also now that he's found the treasure, it's, like, all good. Cool. And that's the film. They also get rich, which I guess is worth noting, is that they like get some sort of like finder's fee for the treasure. Is this real? Hey, does anybody treasure hunt for real? Can we confirm if you get a finder's fee for like finding buried treasure? I just need to know, especially like now that I look like a pirate. Like it just feels like I could do it deep in my soul.
Jay broke.
I also forgot to mention that at some point, Ben and Abigail do in fact kiss. They get together as a couple at the end of the film and move in together, which is cutesy, but then you remember that the film probably took it's probably like a week of time in between them first meeting and them finding the treasure and deciding to move in together.
That's weird.
Suspicious. But hey, my main problem is that I think that the three of them should be a throuple. Ben, Riley, and Abigail. Throuple. This is my essay on why they should be a throuple. Okay? Thank you. So now, you might be wondering, Ayana, that sounds like a perfect film. Why did they make another one? And here's what I have to say. I often find that in the golden days of Disney, you will stumble across a sequel that is better than the first film. Cheetah Girls, High School Musical, National Treasure, Book of Secrets. Now, is it better in my mind? I think that National Treasure just holds such a deep, like it's buried in there. Like I've mentioned about nesting dolls, and don't get me wrong, the two nesting dolls are together into one into one doll, but I just love the first movie. I love the premise that it sets up. I think it's so fun. I don't think that I would have loved the second movie as much if I didn't love the first movie. And if I had to get rid of one, right, I would get rid of the second one because I just think that the first one walked, right? So the second one can run, and that's what a sequel is supposed to do. So here's the thing. I think that it's better because I think it's a really good sequel and that it improves upon the world that it already set up in the first movie. And you might be asking yourself, what is it that a sequel is supposed to do? And it's exactly that. So let me tell you about it. National Treasure, Book of Secrets, 2007, John Turteltaub. If I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, I'm so sorry. This film, so good. We open with another flashback. This time, we're flashing back to the Civil War. Cool. So fun. I love that. We see a couple of Confederate spies come and accost Mr. Thomas Gates, who is like great grandfather to our hero Benjamin Franklin Gates, and they're asking him to solve this cipher. Meanwhile, one of these spies, who is John Wilkes Booth, goes and does what he does at the end of the Civil War. You guys know what I'm talking about. The news spreads that there's been an incident. Mr. Thomas Gates is like, you guys are spies. Tries to burn the cipher that he's making them work on, because it turns out that that cipher is a treasure map to Cibola, aka the mythical asterisk, city of gold. The Confederate spy shoots him, lol, which is not cool. As Mr. Thomas Gates is dying, he takes his son by the hand and he mumbles, "The debt that all men pay." And we're going to hold on to that for later. Back to modern day, we get Papa Gates and Ben Gates attending this museum event, aka something inducting their ancestor Thomas Gates into this sort of like university history, Hall of Fame, whatever. At this event, this man stands up and he's like, hey, I've got one of those great granddaddies too. And I actually have a missing page to the Booth Diary that implicates Mr. Thomas Gates as not only being a part of the plan to unalive Lincoln, but as being the artifacts, the planner, the mastermind behind the whole thing. The crowd oozes, the crowd awes, the crowd gasps, the crowd gags. The page is examined and it's matching the book. It's matching the book. So as soon as the Gates family name is out of the mud, it's right back into the mud. Now, if there's anything that we know about Mr. Benjamin Franklin Gates, he is a determined little sprite, little guy, okay? He is not going down like this. He's not having his ancestors' names go down like this. So what do we need to do? We need to find Cibola, because Thomas Gates burned the page to hide the path to Cibola, which would have completely turned the tides of the end of the war if the Confederates had gotten their hand on all of that gold to fund their endeavors, right? So that's what we gotta do. And for that, we need to get the band back together. Riley, also down on his luck, having a book signing in Borders. Shout out to Borders. Y'all remember Borders? I remember Borders. Shop your local indie bookstores, okay? Stop allowing monopolization of industries. Rip Borders, gone but never forgotten. Riley also gets his car towed, so you know, he's looking down bad. Abigail, her and Ben have broken up. Uh-oh, what happened? We'll find out later in the film. She's now going on dates with guys who work at the White House or something, whatever, not important. The important thing is we're getting the band back together, okay? We're mixing it all together, and we know that it's the best of both worlds. Focus. Before we get the band back together, however, they do break into Abigail, formerly Ben and Abigail's house, to steal her key card, because remember, she works for the National Archives, so she would have access to that Booth Diary page that they need to look at first. She catches him, obviously, as she's coming back in from a date. Gasp. She agrees to help them out because Ben Gates promises her the Boston tea tables. I've never needed a piece of furniture so much. So as they're examining this page, they find a cipher on the back. Exactly what they thought was going to be there. So now we're off and running. The cipher that they find on the back, they need a key to. A 5-letter word, and the clue? The debt that all men pay. I'm going to check back in with you in about 5-10 minutes. And I'm going to let you know what the answer is. See if you can try and guess it before we get there. It's like a fun little game. It's like you're part of the search yourself. Side note, I'm obsessed with the technology in this film, because what is the little scanny thing that they're using? Why does Riley at some point have a drone that's like a super high-tech camera, in and out, focus, zoomy, move around drone? And we're also using MSN as a web browser. Now it's time to check back in with the FBI, because yeah, Super Agent Sadesky is in this movie too. We love to see it, ladies and gentlemen. And he is questioning the man that came forward with the Booth Diary page. Wilkinson, we learn, is his name. We learn that Wilkinson is a mercenary, and he has a crew of mercenaries, aka this is the kind of dude that like hawks this kind of stuff. He's the kind of dude that gets paid very handsomely for these sort of historical treasures. So Sadesky is asking good questions. Why would a dude who would get millions probably for this document. Just give it away to a university for free. Get on that, guys. Have you figured it out? What the debt that all men pay is? Death. 5-letter word. The debt that all men pay. Crack the code. We get the name La Boule, aka the French carpenter who constructed the Statue of Liberty. Is it carpenter? Is it sculptor? I think it's actually sculptor, the French sculptor who did the Statue of Liberty both here and in France, because there's a Statue of Liberty in France. Did you know that? What we learned from the clue is La Boule lady, which La Boule only referred to one Statue of Liberty as his lady. Yeah, baby. Yeah, we're going international in this film. We're all excited, okay? Because here's the thing. What a more brilliant way to make a sequel about National Treasure than to make the film international. It feels like a really funky dance mood. It feels like the perfect expansion upon the world. It's giving it's giving the Cheetah Girls 2 formula, right? Right. So we're going to France. And while we're in France, we discover the next clue, which leads us to learn about the Resolute twins, aka 2 desks made from this old English ship, the Resolute, that like got destroyed in transit and was made into 2 desks, one that sits in Buckingham Palace and one that sits in the US Oval Office. If you guys wondered if we were going international, like oui, yes sir. Meanwhile, Abigail is meeting with Wilkinson, who is being so sneaky creepy. And here's the thing, I love this scene because while we're getting information about the clue from Riley and Ben, we're also getting information about the clue from Abigail and Wilkinson, and then we get all of the information that we need to move on to the next part from those 2 dual scenes. Mr. John Turtletop, the man that you are. And after a brief ditty where Papa Gates gets attacked by the high-tech criminals that are Wilkinson's men,
Bombastic side eye.
we're off to London. Yes, London. From the National Treasure Cinematic Universe. British people. From the National Treasure Cinematic Universe. The Queen. From the National Treasure Cinematic Universe. Yes. And if you're wondering if this is the part of the heist plan where we get a blueprint editing transition and a montage of techie stuff with Riley doing things that don't make any sense and also Benjamin Gates wearing an earpiece, well, yes, we do. And per classic plans, something has to go wrong. The something that goes wrong in this case is that Abigail shows up for some reason, but it actually works out in their favor because Ben and Abigail cause a scene by having this big fight, which is Nicolas Cage's finest acting, if you ask me. And they get tossed into this hold underneath Buckingham Palace. Hey, royal family / anyone who's works or visited Buckingham Palace, is this real? Is it real?
Is it real?
I just want to know. I'm curious. I'm not trying to get put there. I'm just curious. This lets them have access up through a service elevator into the Queen's office. We're inside of the Resolute desk, which turns out to be a puzzle box because of course it is. They find this plank that has Proto-American carvings on it.
I went to Buckingham Palace and all I got was this old piece of wood.
Interesting. As they get out of Buckingham Palace, who do they see? Who do they run into other than our good friend Wilkinson? Guys, how are you catching these international overnight flights to London and Paris and whatnot? I know that shit's expensive. And I know that you're highly trained mercenaries. But Miss Abigail Chase, you work at the National Archives. I know you're not getting paid that much, girl. How are you affording these flights? I just need to know. So now that they've been found and Wilkinson knows that they've found something inside of the desk, naturally, we get an international car chase. It's just so good. The chase ends with Ben running a red light to take a picture with the little like plank and then tossing it into the Thames. Go off king. I mean, our good civilian Benjamin Gates. One of the things I really love about this film is that the French people in the film are so French. Like, oui, baguettes, oui. And the British people are like so British. Like, I haven't the foggiest. What the fuck are you talking about? I love it. British and French people from the National Treasure Cinematic Universe. Back to DC, because guess who can translate the Proto-American characters on the little plank of wood that they found? If you guess Ben's mom, you're correct. You're correct. And now we get Ben's mom reveal. Ben's mom and Ben's dad lore drop, aka they fucking hate each other. And she reveals that they actually only have half of the plank. Remember, 2 twins. So it makes sense that the next piece of the plank is in the Oval Office. Abigail, we need you to call your date, aka your presumed hanky-pank partner, whatever, it doesn't matter. He works at the White House. So we're getting in there. Side note, I'm doing a lot of side notes as I talk about this. But side note, White House egg roll. Is that a thing? Is this real? So Abigail uses her date to get them into the Oval Office, where Ben proceeds to find that, the plank of wood that used to be in the desk has been moved, and instead there's just this weird symbol in the place that it used to be of like an eagle holding a scroll and like some olive branches. However, we, those of us who read Mr. Riley Poole's book and are good friends, hashtag not Benjamin Gates, hashtag not Papa Gates, hashtag not Abigail Chase, hashtag fake friends, would know exactly what this symbol is, which it is the symbol that denotes the president's book. A book of secrets, one might say. Yeah, the president's book is only known to the president. It contains all of the country's secrets, Area 51, aliens, the missing Watergate tapes, blah, blah, blah. What's important is that whatever was in the desk has now been moved into the book, but the only person that has access to the president's book, the sitting president. And this discovery does lead Mr. Benjamin Franklin Gates to his most insane plan yet.
I'm gonna kidnap him. I'm gonna kidnap the President of the United States.
What did he say?
And we get more plan montage. I'm eating it up. My favorite thing about this plan montage is that one of the reasons why they move the president's birthday party from wherever it's supposed to be is because they get an anonymous tip that it's like not politically correct, something that happened at that venue. And then the venue that they decide to have the president's birthday at, or to get the president to have his birthday at, is Mount Vernon. What? And not only that, but Ben's plan to get the president alone is to trap him in a slave tunnel? But hey, he does get the location of the book, so slay. Pause, though, because in this scene, we have Gates coming out of the woods randomly and passing this, like, presumably CIA officer on the way into the president's party. And I just need to know, if you are at a high security event for the president of the United States' birthday, and some random man comes walking out of the woods at nighttime, you're not asking any questions. You're not asking him one question. You're not going, actually, where the fuck did you come from? Not one? No, that's fine. No, I just wanted to ask. I just wanted to check. So now we're at the Library of Congress, because where else would you hide a book? They find it. They find the information that they need, but Rutro Raggy, the FBI are hot on their tail.
How'd they find us so quickly?
I'll tell you how. The president is a tattletale.
We also get a scene of Ben's mom and Wilkinson where he, like, threatens her to tell Ben's dad, who's coming with the next piece of the clue, the, like, wrong thing. Love that. I love when you threaten my mom. The next portion of the film, where the mythical city of Cibola is hidden, Mount Rushmore, of course. The whole crew pulls up. We get inside. We get booby-trapped. We get unbooby-trapped. This is a lesson against greed. If you see a gold man standing at the end of a hallway, that sounds creepy. If you see a gold totem sitting at the end of a hallway, don't go towards it. It's probably got booby traps. Alright? You will get boobed. Now, if you want to get boobed, you might not have a problem with that, but I'm just saying. After they get thoroughly booby-trapped, they finally find it. Cibola. The city of gold. Congratulations, guys. You did good. But Ruh-roh Raggy, almost immediately, they are now in trouble because it starts filling with water, which is a nightmare, mind you. I have claustrophobia. I'm also afraid of drowning. Let me tell you what would be a situation that I would not ever find myself in. That one. Did you guys hear my hip pop? I'm old. Cue the saddest scene I remember watching as a kid. This is like top 10 sad scenes. Somewhere underneath that one scene from Bolt. You guys know the one I'm talking about. But this scene where we see Wilkinson like holding up this lever to try and keep everyone from drowning, and he's just shouting, "Tell him I found it. You tell him Mitch Wilkinson found it." And then he promptly, like, very clearly drowns and dies in this room. Oh my God. Why was I watching that at 7 years old? How did I go from wanting this Confederate sympathizer, Ben hater, to just, like, eat dust? So now I'm tearing up. Is that empathy? Movies, the power that you have. So everyone but Mitch manages to make it out okay. And you know what? They do tell them. They tell the President of the United States and the news people and whatnot that Mitch did help find it, which is very kind of them, given everything else that happened in the hour and 20-minute long film. And we've done it, boys. We've done it again. We've found the impossible. We've cleared Thomas Gates' name. We've found the city of gold, which they can give back to the indigenous people of the Americas and also, like, study for historical purposes and stuff like that. We're eating down. There are fireworks. Ben and Abigail make up. Still no Riley in the throuple, but it's fine. And we're living a good life. Oh, and Riley gets his car back. And that, my friends, is the perfect duology of films. I love these movies so much. I feel like I've mentioned in a previous video, I can't remember which one, but I'm such a history nerd, in case you couldn't tell by the fact that I love these movies so much. I love a heist film as well. I love a quest film. I love a treasure hunt. Like, I eat those things up. One of my favorite shows that I watched when I was younger was Dora. Like, you get it. It connects. One of the things that gets on my nerves about those kind of films, especially sort of like treasure hunt films, is they're almost always anti-indigenous. They're almost always like anti-black. Like they're not good. And one of the things I really love about the National Treasure films, not only just the films themselves, but also the sort of like making of the films, is that they were very cognizant of the importance of indigeneity and the stories that they were telling, and also the quite simply evil things that the US has done as part of its history. And they're not afraid to sort of like make a riff on that and talk about that and like acknowledge it in the films that they make. And I just think that that's really cool. If you do want to steal the Declaration of Independence, you let me know. Bye.